Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a place that is, without a doubt, China's ultimate architectural time capsule. We are literally going to unpack the blueprints of an empire by looking closely at the incredibly preserved ancient architecture of Shanxi province.
So where in the world can you find China's ancient Wall Street, a billionaire's 300-year-old palace, and a 1600-year-old underground fortress all packed into one single region? Well, today, we're going to decode these exact structures. And look, we aren't just looking at old walls and dusty relics here. No way. We're examining the functioning, breathing pillars of an ancient empire that controlled absolutely immense wealth and power.
Here's our tour map for today's explainer. First, Shanxi as a living time capsule. Then Pingyao, the ancient Wall Street. After that, we'll hit the opulent merchant palaces, Zhangbi's underground fortress, spiritual sanctuaries, and finally, a legacy carved right into the stone.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Shanxi, a living time capsule.
We are looking at a region that preserves over 5,000 years of Chinese history. Shanxi's ancient architecture is essentially a multi-layered living fossil. So why does this actually matter for us? Well, because we aren't just reading abstract history from some textbook. We're looking at the exact physical spaces where ancient civilizations actually built their incredible wealth, defended their lands, and practiced their deepest faiths. I mean, you can literally walk through the actual timelines of the Ming and Qing dynasties right here. It's like stepping into a time machine. Moving on to Section 2, Pingyao, Ancient China's Wall Street.
With over 2,000 years of history, Pingyao isn't just some old town. It was a macro-urban planning marvel of the Ming and Qing dynasties that basically dictated the financial pulse of an entire empire. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how its layout followed the ancient Bagua, or 8 trigrams pattern. It features exactly 4 main streets, 8 minor streets, and 72 alleys. This wasn't random at all. It was a highly intentional design. It perfectly balanced and controlled both bustling commerce and everyday civic life, keeping the whole shebang organized, prosperous, and most importantly, secure.
Let's trace how all this financial power evolved, shall we? Back in the Qing Dynasty, Pingyao saw the establishment of Rixingcheng. You can kind of think of Rixingcheng as the grandfather of China's banking system, literally the very first draft bank. And this sparked an era of massive expansion, turning Pingyao into a huge hub filled with actual underground gold vaults that drove the national finance. At its peak prosperity, this single city hosted 22 competing draft banks. It was literally the beating heart of ancient China's entire financial network.
2.25. That is the size of Pingyao in square kilometers. Just think about that for a second. Within a tiny footprint of just 2.25 square kilometers, Pingyao concentrated unfathomable national wealth. To put that into perspective, it's a remarkably small area to hold that much power. And to protect all that gold and silver, it was heavily guarded by imposing, fortified Ming-era city walls and the strict authority of the local government Yamen offices, which came complete with their own intricate courtrooms and prisons. They were not messing around.
All right, Section 3, Opulent Merchant Family Palaces.
So, shifting from that massive urban scale down to the private estates of the Jin merchants, who are essentially ancient China's financial capitalists, we see just staggering wealth. Take the Wang family compound, for instance. It's famously nicknamed the Folk Forbidden City, and the scale is absolutely massive. 250,000 square meters. It's essentially a sprawling fortress built over 300 years during the Ming and Qing dynasties, featuring 5 alleys and 6 distinct forts. On the flip side, you have the Cao family compound. This was known as a true capitalist hub, serving as the center of a massive commercial empire that spanned across Beijing, the Northeast, and the Yangtze River Valley.
Now, to really understand these spaces, we have to look at the people who actually built them. Take Qiao Ziyong. He was the brilliant patriarch who brought the Cao family to its absolute peak. He lived to the incredibly ripe old age of 89, which, let's be real, was a massive triumph back then. His ingenuity and spirit turned his family into absolute giants of commerce. But unfortunately, this golden era faced a really sharp decline with the outbreak of World War II. It forced the family to scatter, leaving only their magnificent quiet courtyards behind to tell their story. And this brilliantly illustrates how this immense wealth was showcased through the 3 carvings. We're talking masterful, highly intricate architectural details painstakingly done in wood, brick, and stone. The blood, sweat, and sheer opulence of these merchant families are literally carved right into their walls, serving as a permanent, public display of their high artistic standards and total financial dominance.
Section 4. Let's move to and see how this builds into Zhangbi's underground military fortress.
Plunging below the opulent surface of high society, we find a gritty 1,600-year-old defense system, and the contrast is absolutely awe-inspiring. Above ground, Zhangbi is this tiny, peaceful ancient village taking up just 0.12 square kilometers, but hidden directly beneath the dirt, a sprawling 10,000-meter hidden tunnel network. It's literally an entire second city completely hidden down in the earth. Crazy, right?
The military ingenuity here is just visceral. Imagine the dark, chill air as you navigate these multi-tiered tunnels. Step 1, the streets up above were laid out deceptively, actually following astrological patterns to confuse invading forces. Step 2, beneath the ground, the tunnel networks had secret listening posts strategically placed so defenders could literally hear the stomping hooves of enemy horses right above their heads. And Step 3, they engineered these incredibly complex ventilation shafts and terrifying hidden traps. It was a brilliantly designed subterranean maze meant for absolute do-or-die survival.
Up next is Section 5, Ancient Spiritual Sanctuaries. From the dark, gritty bunkers beneath the earth, we elevate way up to the spiritual heavens.
108.
That's exactly how many steep stone steps it takes to reach Pusa Ding, located on the sacred Buddhist sanctuary of Wutai Mountain. This stunning temple wasn't just for monks. It actually served as the historical residence for emperors whenever they visited the mountain. So climbing those 108 steps is a very physical journey into a space where royal power met divine faith.
These sanctuaries basically act as a beautiful structural timeline of faith. First up, we have Shanxi Temple, which features 5 terraces and this massive Ming Dynasty bronze hall that is just breathtaking in person. Then there's Huaye Temple. This one is incredibly famous for its highly prosperous incense offerings and dragon king worship. People actually still flock there today hoping for financial blessings. Finally, you have the Jinci Temple, which perfectly blends ancient royal gardens, natural spring water sources, and these incredibly lifelike Qing Dynasty-colored sculptures.
But maybe the most remarkable detail is the number 3,000. At the Jinci Temple, there's a Zhou Dynasty cypress tree that has been growing for 3,000 years. It leans dramatically over the ancient architecture, kind of acting as a silent witness to millennia of history. So the crucial point is that structures and living monuments like this represent an unbroken, living continuity of Chinese civilization. They're still alive. And that brings us to our final part. Section 6, a legacy carved in stone.
So how do all these totally disparate sites tie together? Well, the absolute best way to grasp this is by looking at the Shanxi Museum. Think of it as a concentrated time capsule holding the literal physical puzzle pieces of the vast architectural empire we've just explored. It houses over 650,000 artifacts spanning 5,000 years of civilization. It features incredibly rare items like the Homa Alliance documents and some seriously exquisite ancient bronzeware. Shanxi is the natural museum of Huaxia civilization. The weight of that quote is just immense. The architecture we've explored today isn't just about pretty rooftops or deep tunnels. From the massive family compounds of financial tycoons to those gritty underground fortresses and sacred mountain peaks, Shanxi's architecture is a priceless mirror. It reflects thousands of years of human ambition, survival, and unparalleled artistry. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. If bricks could speak, what ancient secrets of ambition and survival would your own city's foundations reveal? History isn't just trapped in textbooks, it's right beneath our feet, carved into the stone, waiting to be uncovered. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it inspires you to look a little closer at the walls around you.